Hey, Blue Table fans, Sean here, and I just wanted to make a quick video. I know that Age of Sigmar isn't the most popular yet, but just you wait and see, and that's really what I've been looking at recently. So I'm going to talk about it. By the way, I just finished packing and unpacking all BTP packages. And that was really quite a day. I think we've got 12 new projects come in, and I've got a like amount out. And the web store, Blue Table Store, is cracking right along. So, without further ado, let me acquaint you with the various Age of Sigmar books, because some of you may, notice there's like a lot of them. And it can be a little overwhelming. Now, I only have six of them. I think a couple are actually on loan right now. This represents maybe a third of the books that have been published. And so I'm just going to give you kind of an overview and let you know what it is you're in for if you decide to get into Age of Sigmar. So first off, it's very much a skirmish game now. And that means low model count. So first off, you have the Alliance books. So you've got Grand Alliance, Destruction, Order, Chaos, and the one I'm missing is Death. So Death, I believe, just has vampire counts in it. Tomb Kings have been eradicated. So without further ado, here's what they look like. So the Grand Alliance books, oh, and by the way, Games Workshop published PDFs of each one of the old Army books so that you'd be able to play your old Warhammer Fantasy models in it. But I think these books are kind of like the last nod to the old system. And in fact, I'm going to show you what's coming up, because I've spent like a couple of weeks just reading these and like really looking them over. So, okay, let's take a look at Grand Alliance Destruction, which along with Alliance Death is the two of the smaller books. So Grand Alliance Destruction has basically orcs and ogres in it. And so what they've done is they've split the armies into smaller groups. So if you go into the GW site, you'll see a lot of unfamiliar stuff. Instead of like dwarves and wood elves and high elves and beastmen, you're going to see things like dispossessed, wanderers, things like that. So for example, Beast Claw Raiders gives you a couple pages of fluff, and then it just jumps right into the War Scrolls. So you've got basically all the sort of beast riding models in an ogre army. What used to be ogres, now they're ogres. So Fire Bellies, and I think this little faction just has like one guy in it. Yeah, that's basically it. So they've split it up now. In a lot of the books that you actually get the equivalent of 40k formations. I think they're called battalions or something like that. And so at the beginning of the section, let's go. So Gutbusters, it would have like a thing where it would give advantages and disadvantages. Advantages to like a formation if you include certain things. Now, let's see, are the rules in here? The rules, as you may know, this is the rules. This is how to set up the game. 2 pages for that. This here in 1 page is the entire rules of the game. And they run very smoothly. I've done nothing but enjoy this game. Because you don't have to memorize a lot of stuff and like look a lot of stuff up during the game. So it runs extremely smoothly. So what's interesting is armies. In order to play, you must first muster your army from the miniatures in your collection. Armies can be as big as you like, and you can use as many models from your collection as you wish. The more units you decide to use, the longer the game will last and more exciting it will be. Not always. Typically, a game with around 100 miniatures per side will last about an evening, and that is actually very true. The group that I'm joining is doing 100 wounds. So, let me see if my thing is centered. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. It's doing 100 wounds, so you're going to end up with, let's see, so you'd have like 61 wound guys, and then a bunch of big creatures, maybe 4 to 8 large creatures. So it's very easy to paint up an Age of Sigmar army. There's really not a lot to it. So all models are described by war scrolls, which provide all the rules for using them in the game. You will need war scrolls for the models you want to use. Models fight in units. But you cannot include models that use different war scrolls. Hold on, a unit can have, but cannot include models that use different war scrolls. A unit must be set up and finish any sort of move as a single group, with all models within 1 inch of at least one other model from their unit. If anything causes the unit to become split. Okay, so that's basically your coherency rules right here. So effectively, there are no you don't have to just pick things out of one army book. You can just do whatever you want. Now, within reason, I guess, and you'll see probably groups, make up rules for this. You'll probably have like, people will pick it from one alliance. So what's interesting about this book, Destruction, is it includes some of the new models they published. So what you see, so for example, Oryx are a great example, I think, of where they're going. Iron Jaws. Oh, in fact, I have the Iron Jaws book here. So, and by the way, these Grand Alliance books are pretty cheap for the page count. I think these cost like $15, the smaller ones, and these giant ones that are like 200 and some odd pages each, they're $35 right now. And we'll see how dated this video gets based on the cost. So anyway, so basically they published one. This is 2 guys in the same kit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new kits for Oryx. And they brought into the fold an old kit, the old Black Orcs, which is a really strong and attractive kit. And the exact same thing happened with Sylvaneth. I don't have my Sylvaneth book. I actually traded it already, so I need to get another one. The Sylvaneth had the same thing. They added all these great new figures, but they kept the Tree Man and the Dryads as old figures from the book. And that's basically, a tree folk army. So now you've got Grand Alliance Order and Grand Alliance Chaos. And I'm going to talk about these a little bit because I've spent quite a bit of time looking at these books. Okay, good. I'm centered very well. So, by the way, I hope you're enjoying these videos. And I would make more, but I'm really swamped. And I always did it just as much as I felt like it. So anyway, you notice there's like colors here. And those are the major factions. So Grand Alliance Order, what you've got is you've got Stormcast Eternals. And so here you go. They give you the War Scroll Battalion. So if you take these things, you get some advantages. So it's not like, so you're not pegged into doing a certain army. You can really take, you could take anything in this book that you want and just kind of mix and match, do a whole bunch of counts as. I got to tell you, I'm as happy as a pig in slop with this game because of the themed armies you could do. You could do a Phoenix themed army and have, in fact, that's one of the here, Spireheart Warhost. 2 to 4 units chosen from any of the following: Flamespire Phoenix, Frostheart Phoenix. I mean, that could be, if you want to take the Spireheart Warhost, you could take an Anointed, 2 units of Phoenix Guard, and basically a bunch of Phoenixes. Awesome! A Phoenix Temple army. How cool is that? Like seriously, just go down to your shop, buy 1, 2, 3, say 5 boxes, and 1 blister for your general guy, and start rocking it. Start rocking it with your Phoenixes. And by the way, the Phoenixes are really, really cool. And I'm going to actually tell you what to look out for as you start thinking of what to include in your army. Okay, so let's take a look at the Eternals here. Stormcast Eternals. What a great army. And this is actually 2 armies. You have the Stormcast Eternals and you have what's called the Extremist Chamber. And the Extremist Chamber only has, I think, 3 army list entries to it and 2 kits, basically. But they're just so awesome that I'm definitely going to do it. So Celestant Prime, there's 1, 2. This is the guy that comes in the basic kit. 3, 4, 5, 6. These are your heroes here. Knight Azeros. 7, 8, 9. So 9 new kits for these guys. So check it out. Just the infantry guys. So Celestant, Castellant, Relictor, Knight Azeros, Knight Venator, Knight Vexellator. I mean, this is a Heraldor. This guy's kind of the kookiest one. He's got like fat armor. Yeah, I don't get that guy. So, and how does he blow the horn through his mask? Well, I don't know. Maybe his mask is open, actually. There are actually guys under this armor. Excuse me. So then, out of your basic Stormcasts, first off, they publish different blisters that give you different shields and heraldry for different chambers, which is effectively a lot like Space Marine chapters. And by the way, the similarity is not lost on anyone that even casually looks at this between Space Marines and these guys. But these guys actually are bulkier and they're really cool. I'm pretty sure these are 40 millimeter bases that they're on. These are huge models. So they really did make them into like gods. And supposedly each one of these guys is like a champion, you know. So they and I hate to make the comparison of one game to another, but they do smack just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to close up a little bit more on this. Let's see if I can get this right. There we go. That'll be so much nicer for you guys. Okay, so basically you've got Liberators, Judicators. These are both, I'm pretty sure, made out of the same kit. Prosecutors with Stormcall Javelins, Retributors. So I'm pretty sure the Liberators, Judicators, Retributors, like these are all made out of the same kit. I could be wrong though. So, but as you can see, it's a pretty short, well, it's not really a short list. How many entries are in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 heroes, 9 heroes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entries for like your basic units. So, and they eat, but look at these guys. The Griffhounds have 3 wounds each. The regular guys have like 2 wounds or 3 wounds each. A typical hero in this has 5 wounds, by the way. So, Extremist Chambers, awesome. And so you can mix and match these. But these are the guys that are on the dragons, the Winged Dragons. So you've got Celestant or a Drakesworn Templar. That's the same kit. And then you can make 4 different kinds of things with the basic Drekoth Rider thing. And each of those has 5 wounds. So they're effectively like heroes. And these guys have some amazing abilities just through the roof. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Seraphon because I already made a video about them. But they comprise this little blue section here and all the stuff that you can have. Pretty much all plastic kits, still some fine cast in there. And so what you want to look for when you're doing your army, just a couple of things. Look for force multipliers. So, well, 2 types of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Synergy. So, for example, does this unit make another unit stronger? Can it like cast a spell on them? Can it do a command ability on just one unit? Or even better than that, some of them do it like give a benefit to all units or models within a certain radius. So that's good. And then there are a few things in there that are, they're like, they affect like the whole army. And those are actually very rare. The other thing to look out for is look for things that do mortal wounds. Because mortal wounds will bypass the armor, basically. And a lot of things they'll just do them. They'll be like, pick a unit within 10 inches, like the Dracoth Riders, I'm pretty sure have something like that. Hold on. Just need to take a look here. Lightning Surge. Some Dracoth trained for line. By the way, these dragon creatures they ride, they spit lightning. It's awesome. It's too good. Dracoths trained for line breaking spit a crackling torrent at enemies that come too close. When a unit is hit by lightning surge, do not make a wound roll. Instead, the unit suffers a mortal wound or 2 mortal wounds if it is within 3 inches of the attacking model. So it's the unit, and that is just great, and it gets D3 attacks with that. So, I mean, that is incredible. And I'm going to do another video on how to calculate like damage potential on each unit, because everything's one-sided. And I grant you it's a simplification, but it's like you roll your to hit, you roll your to wound, and it tells you right here. You don't need a chart, you don't have to memorize anything, and you also don't need to ask your opponent for any information. You can just tell them how many wounds that they get. But things get interesting when you start adding like the different powers of different creatures and maneuvering them around on the board to make sure that those benefits are applied in the most tactical sort of way. So, and I have to say the Seraphon are probably the army with the best synergy. They're also a summoning army, and that's something that's being dealt with on sort of a local level. So here you go. Now you have, let's see, the Sylvaneth. But the Sylvaneth already have their own book. So these books are going to become obsolete as they put out other books. The Fire Slayers have books. So these are like the Slayers that are like kind of made into their own army. They have great, I think these are 32 millimeter bases, so these guys are actually pretty huge. Glory of Azirheim, God, just look at that. All the high elves, and by the way, dark elves come under order, incidentally. Stonebreaker Battalion, Azirheim Lance Host. So well, and look at how this like mixes and matches. You've got the Storm, and it fits in the fluff too. So like Empire guys are now the free peoples, and kind of like the citizens of the realm. Devoted of Sigmar. So yeah, Devoted of Sigmar. This is the old Empire stuff, but it's split. Free peoples. That's the old Empire, like humans, right? Collegiate Arcane. This is awesome. So yeah, 3 to 8 battle mages is the substance of this army, and you know they're weird machines. So battle mages, by the way, battle mages are great and have some really cool spells. Quite frankly, an army of these guys would be really cool, but it'll only be a third of an army because most places are playing, not most places, but the place I'm playing is starting at 100 wounds, and these guys only have 5 each. So it'd be 40 wounds to do one of each type of wizard. And they've got some really cool spells. So the battle mages are great force multipliers. And quite frankly, you could take these guys and just use another model as a counts as, and just put it in your army, which is what I'm going to do with my Nurgle army and my Death Lord's army, which is one of the sub things of Undead. Ironweld Arsenal is actually a combination of the Dwarf War Machines and the Empire War Machines. So pretty cool stuff there. Like so you see steam tanks in there all the time. Dispossessed are the Dwarfs. They are kind of just these wanderers. I guess that's kind of like the Hobbit, you know. And the Dwarfs got a lot of great models near the end of the heyday of Warhammer. Hardly a heyday. They redid the game because Warhammer Fantasy wasn't doing so well, apparently. So then you've got the spellcasters, Eldritch Council, which is the high elf spellcasters, Phoenix Temple, which we talked about, Lion Rangers, which is kind of the lamest one, you know, two entries, and a chariot. The chariots are so out of place in Age of Sigmar. Order Draconis, which is the dragon princes and dragons. Swifthawk agents. These guys are cool. They've got cool art, cool models. Definitely doing these guys. Like, look at this. This Chaos Warrior's about to, like, pike this Empire guy. And this Sky Cutter just throws his spear right through his chest. That's awesome. Come on. Everybody shut up. So, but they're not really overly powerful. Their damage output is pretty pathetic. But they are fast. That's for sure. And you get Shadow Warriors, the Sky Cutters, and I'm going to run Phoenixes and Wood Elves on Giant Eagles with them. So, and then here's your Dark Elves with all their different factions. I'm just going to kind of skip through them. Hold on, what are these guys? Oh yeah, Doomfire Warlocks. These guys are bad news. They are so evil. Their spell, which is cast on a 5, which is kind of a standard thing. That means you need to roll a 5 or higher on 2d6. You pick a visible unit within 18 inches. Target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Period. Awesome. And that's if it has less than 5 models. It does D6 mortal wounds if it has 5 models. So if you had 4 units of these guys running around, they could basically blow up whole units just like that. So these guys are really not very nice. They're not very nice at all. And they've got a cool name and a cool figure, and they do a cool thing. Trifecta. Blackguard. All right, so then there's Assassins, Order Serpentis, and Wanderers. So these are the old Wood Elf infantry, and I'm actually making an army of these guys. And they folded in the Sisters of Avalorn. That's what you'll see in here. It's the Sisters of the Watch. So obviously Avalorn is gone. It got blown up with the rest of the world. So that is Grand Alliance Order. You know, I'm going to do a separate video for Grand Alliance Chaos, but let me just do an overview of the rest of the books. So you got Iron Jaws. So this is where the game is going. They're going to release maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe as many as 6 kits. They're going to put out a book, and they're going to call it a faction. And so these really detail the army and give you a lot of pictures, and you know that there's a lot to work with in here. And you know, this gives you like a little scenario you can play. I definitely want to start trying those. Green Orders. Okay, War Scrolls. These the Aurochs are huge, man. The Auric Brutes, those are 40 mils, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And so the models are just absolutely fantastic. They're really cool. And then in the back you get the rules. So instead of like this giant rule book like that thick that you can't even open, that's like unwieldy, you just literally just have 2 pages here that you can print off, by the way. And that's it. Just the 2 pages, and then the War Scrolls make everything fit. White Dwarf, I got these because the Silver Tower War Scrolls were in it. I've got a lot of these lent out to artists. This is the book that comes in the basic Age of Sigmar game, and just gives you some cool art. And of course, pretty sure the War Scrolls of everything that's in there. Yeah, pretty cool. It's good stuff. Ever Chosen, this is an early book that came out. Of where they just release a couple of kits, make a book about it, and there you go. And you might think, I don't want to buy all these books. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to buy a single dang one. You just go online. Every model that you can buy has a free downloadable PDF in the entry, and you can just download it and print it. And you want to do that anyway, so it'll be handy. But I'm kind of old school. I like hardback books. In fact, this has like a slip cover. What's under it? Oh, that's kind of cool. That's neat. In fact, I kind of want to get rid of this slip cover. Do I? No, I don't. All right, anyway, I just wasted all your times. Okay, all of your time. All of yours' time. Okay, so yeah, there's your War Scrolls. For Archaon, which is this huge model, brilliant centerpiece model that could go with any Chaos army. And then the Varangard, which are like these super hyper, like, let's see if I can find them. Yeah, like Chaos Knights on speed, man. These guys are wicked. And they're 5 wounds each, so it's like a bunch of heroes. Gaunt Summoner of Tzeentch, great new figure, makes me happy. All right, let's just look at the last one. This is the book you can buy for Age of Sigmar. I don't recommend it though. This is the least useful one because they have some War Scrolls, but they're just like, it's early on in the game. It's not very complete, and you know. So what books do you need? Well, first off, you don't need any books, but the battalions are only in the books. So what I would start out with is if you already have a collection of figures, I would get just your Grand Alliance book, like Order, for example. and that should be plenty to work off of. But if you're getting into the game, pick one of the battle tomes. So look at that, Grand Alliance battle tome. So Destruction battle tome means it goes with the Destruction book, because that's the 4 factions: Destruction, Death, Order, and Chaos. Not many good guys in there, apparently. So yeah, I would just pick that up and make your army based on that. And you don't need a lot. I mean, people used to contact me for quotes for Warhammer Fantasy. By the way, not anymore. And I'd get back to them and it'd be like 200 figures, 300 figures. I mean, it adds up, you know, and it's very prohibitive. But this is really quite the opposite. It's very easy to get into this game. So, and you can just use the cool models that you want, create this themed army, and just be, you know, just go and play with some of your favorite stuff. And they now have the General's Handbook, which gives points. Wait a minute, did I end up? Oh yeah, I'm going to do a separate one for the Chaos Grand Alliance. So this really just has a lot of like history and stuff in it. Not a lot of rules and stuff. Like this is all just reprints back here. But it's only like the last 30 pages, so it's not too bad. And yeah, Guardians of the Deep Wood. Okay, guys, that's all I gotta say. A lot more really cool stuff is coming for Age of Sigmar. And you know, when you pick up these books, you're just spoiled for artwork. There's just so much artwork in them. I mean, it's just really cool. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.